I'm
Yeah.
using a new camera, and it looks like it's filming a little bit dark, but if you like that picture, I'm good with it.
No, it's pretty raw. It's kinda hey, hold on, you wear glasses? What
I
is
wear I wear readers. I'm that
cheater
guy.
or are they prescription?
No, 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 just Walgreens. I buy them by the case.
Yeah. So,
I
if
I
you
really
sit
do, I'm
on 'em?
not joking. I buy 12 at a time, and I lay them all over the house. I have, like, 3 in every backpack, every they're
Those things are
everywhere.
amazing. Yeah, I had the same
Oh,
thing.
they're unbelievable. It
I finally moved to progressives, which, so I'm, near I'm farsighted. I can't see up closely, so, not well. But even in the distance, things are now starting to blur. So I got these progressives, which it kind of messes with your mind. You have to wherever your nose points is what becomes clear. So if you want to read, you can't look down. You got to, you know, kind of move
Ah.
down a little bit, or actually more, it's like the TV. So, first of all, tell me about the baby. Are you willing to share any details? The coming
I
baby?
can, I believe I can. Yeah, my wife is a funny version of nesting. She won't put anything on Instagram.
I, I
She
get it.
won't she's not, like, making the nursery or any of that. She's just, like, all of a sudden, we don't there's nobody outside of the 4 walls of our home. Like, nobody needs to know anything, and, I mean, that's just my wife's way. So, but she has given me permission to say we are pregnant, even though we're not putting it on Instagram. Uh,
I'm just so
we're
excited.
due June 23rd. So, I mean, we're in the 3rd trimester, or Betsy's in the 3rd trimester.
My God. Well, yeah, I get it. My gosh,
I'm
that's
looking forward to
amazing.
I don't know if you were like this, Mike, but I couldn't emotionally or rationally process it as a guy. Betsy's processing it all over the place because, her hormones are reacting because she's pregnant, and the baby is now kicking, and, she's already bonding. They're already spending quality time together, if you will. But it wasn't visually until she started really looking pregnant that
Yeah.
I started to get excited.
Yeah.
I
I can imagine. And, do you know what kind of baby you're having? Boys or girl?
Yeah, it's a girl. We know it's a girl.
That's
Yeah,
excited.
and we've got a
That's
few
exciting.
names. We don't know quite the name yet, so I won't share that, but we've got a
Yeah,
few
yeah,
names.
and I bet you that's the most common questions you get. What are you having? When's it due? And what's the name? It seems
Yes.
like yeah.
I'll tell you the most common, wasn't expecting my friends, including you, to be so excited. So it tells me that there's something really cool is gonna happen.
Alright, so let me tell you why I'm excited. You are a good human, and
Oh,
I
thank
mean,
you.
I you are extraordinary, Don. There's not many people like you, and so I'm excited for your daughter. Like, for a baby to grow up in a family that loves and cares, is sometimes an exception. Unfortunately, it is exceptional.
Yeah.
That's why I'm excited.
Oh, yeah.
And dude,
Well, I
you're gonna
can't
be like
wait.
the best father ever. I can't wait.
We're gonna have fun. I know that. We're gonna have a good time, and, I'm already wondering, like, how much entrepreneurialism do I teach her? I guess you just feel it out.
I
Kid
guess I don't
kids
know. I guess
kids
for
are
everyone's
good.
their own path. I have 3 kids. I got started very early. My first son was born when I was 21,
Mm,
and just instant fatherhood, and
right.
I had a lot to learn. And at the end of the day, my only advice as a father that I can depart, I think that's of any value is, and you know this, it's not what we say, it's what we do.
Yeah.
And
Kids catch more than they learn.
yeah, they're so smart. They're so smart. So hey, I want to ask you about. I don't want to ask you about Business Made Simple yet.
Okay.
I want to ask you about your transition from a faith-based writer
Yeah.
to a business writer. I've I don't know of another individual that's been so successful in both genres.
Hmm. Yeah, I wrote, faith-based memoirs, and the reason I wrote faith-based memoirs is because I wrote memoirs, and I was somebody who went to church, and I was somebody who was raised in a Christian home, Southern Baptist, and, when you're a memoirist, or you feel driven to inspect your life, or what the way I say it, pull lint out of your belly button and hold it up to the light. Inevitably, I'm gonna write about, all the things that I've studied or thought about or interactions I have. So those were all faith-based. I would say that, other than maybe a book called Searching for God Knows What, which was a very I think it was an interesting book, but it was a poor attempt at a Christian personality theory.
Mm.
And now that your audience is asleep, I but I transitioned because there were a couple reasons. One is, the f you know, I think you're like me in the sense that you like to master things. You like to really understand something and figure out a way to simplify it. There are people who you hand them a machine with 12 parts, they'll hand it back to you with 6 and it works more efficiently.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah,
you're that guy, and hopefully I'm that guy. The problem is with Christian theology, um, you couldn't I couldn't simplify it. I mean, I couldn't simplify it and still have it be true.
yeah.
And the culture that I was writing to, I think many, many people believed in that culture that we were given all the answers, and the more I wrote and the more I inspected, the more questions I had and the more convinced I became that we haven't been given very many answers at all.
Oh, interesting.
And
Interesting.
so, to me, I could no longer write books that had answers. I could just write books that had questions. And, it's a evangelical community is a very closed tribal community.
Yeah.
And, me for me to go outside of those frameworks, if you will, and say, I think Judaism is interesting, and I'm curious as to what free market metrics explain its spread. That's not a question that they're asking or interested in asking.
Right, right.
And so, that became obvious when I made a movie about one of my books, and while the book sold 1,000,000 copies, the movie, only about 100,000 people went to see it, which isn't enough to fuel box office. And the reason is the movie wasn't about the fact that Christians are right and other people are wrong. And and so it failed at the box office. And so there is a kind of message that the dominant demographic within evangelicalism is interested in, and that message is we're right.
Right, right.
And we ultimately have security because we're right. And that's not a knock against evangelicals. That's virtually every tribe, you
Oh,
know.
every tribe feels they're 100% right.
Sure. And so they may be and we may be because I still pray to Jesus and none of my theology has really changed. I just have too many questions to write books that market would be comfortable with. And I got more interested in narrative structures, and I got more
Yeah.
interested in Viktor Frankl's work on what makes a life meaningful or how do you have a meaningful experience. And then Accenture thankfully asked me to create a project management curriculum because there was a fan over at Accenture who was this wonderful, very intelligent guy, and he asked me to work on this project management curriculum, and that entered me into the business world. And then I realized I really like this. I'm really good at it, and I hardly ever get criticized. And when I wrote Christian books, evangelicals would light me up. I mean, really.
Really?
Oh, no. I mean, light me up. I mean, I have an interest, as you know, in going into politics someday, and
I know,
and
I
and
know.
somebody once told me, they said, "What are you gonna do with all that with all the anger and the visceral attacks?" And I said, it'll be a break from having written Christian memoirs. Are you kidding me?" It's like, this is so all of those reasons combined, and, here's the other thing, I realized what I really loved was composing experiences, emotional experiences
Mm.
through books, uh, not unlike a symphony or something, you're sort of taking a reader through the ups and downs, and then simplifying ideas, and that's what I really loved doing. It's just that I was writing about my life as an evangelical, and now I'm writing about my life having grown a business. I get the same fulfillment. I
Yeah.
really do. I get the exact same fulfillment. So, that said, I wanna make sure I don't get a bunch of emails, or my customer service people always ask me to say a couple things. Nothing in my theology has changed. I'm not a heretic, and I still pray to Jesus. So please,
Disclaimer made. Yeah, we'll have that flashing.
yeah, there you go.
So, but you weren't leaving a genre as much as pursuing a genre, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, exactly. I wrote 7 Christian memoirs. If you write your 8th
Yeah.
memoir, you're a clinical narcissist. So I'm just a regular narcissist, as you know,
Right, right.
Mike. I'm not a clinical one. I can't write
Yeah.
the 8th one. I kept it at 7.
So, but your first book in this space was Storybrand, and
Yeah.
w- wildly successful. Like, so it's atypical for someone to enter a space. Marketing, there's a lot of established names and brands out there, and you came in and became the dominant force. What would you attribute that to?
I think I came in through the side door.
Ah,
I came in, really talking about ancient narrative structures and sort of Joseph Campbell kinds of material only for businesses, and while some of that had been attempted, it hadn't been attempted really in the way that I did it. It was, how to clarify a message, and your message matters. The words that you're using to talk about your products matter. Here's an ancient framework that helps us distill information into a narrative that's interesting. And if you want customers to be interested, use these tools. That had just never been done before. I will say though, um, I certainly never expected, 500,000 copies or anything like that. That was not even in my wildest imagination. I thought, it'd be great to get 50,000 books out there and talk with people who are interested in this, and I will be extremely fulfilled in having these conversations because I love them. I've never gotten tired of helping somebody clarify their message. It never gets old to me. And so I'm very, very to go back to my evangelical upbringing, I thank God every day that I got to pivot my career, and I certainly feel like I'm still being used somehow in whatever he's
I
doing in
well, I
this
think we're
world.
all a tool
Exactly.
for the divine. I really do. So
I love that you believe that 'cause I hope that that's true because it certainly feels true.
yeah, to me too. I'm curious about the business though behind it. Was that something you planned out? Was to build the Story Brand um, company effectively, or was that something that was a natural outcropping of the
Well,
book?
it started with, Storyline, which was a life planning conference that we had up, like, I think at our biggest one, we had, like, 25 or 2,700 people there. So, it was a successful business. Story Brand, the framework that we would later call Story Brand, was created by me in order to market Storyline. And
Huh.
I had no commercial interest in getting it out there. It was just a narrative structure that I'd created something similar for Accenture, and now I created it that was for project management, this was for messaging, and then I just thought, "I wanna put together a little beta group." And so for free, 10 businesses flew to Nashville, and we spent a couple days together working on their brands,
Mhm.
and it was just extremely obvious from the beginning that this can grow to be at the time, I thought a $2,000,000 company, and last year we did 16.5, and that's only about 5 years later. So, again, just super lucky lucky, but also that's what you get sometimes when you chase your curiosity, you almost always get something magical. The fact that the Venn diagram overlaps with commercial success, though, I think is where I got lucky.
Yeah, yeah, I love that. Chase your curiosity. I'm just writing that down. So, yeah, so that's an extraordinarily large company in the small business space, right? So a
Right, yeah.
a 16 million plus dollar company. Was that 50 employees, 100 employees? I mean, you need
We
some
have
serious
30. Yeah, we have 30.
30 is unbelievable. Seriously?
Yeah, I never saw that coming either. We have 30 team members now.
So there's a rule of thumb that a really profitable business will be posting $200,000 top line per full-time employee. So 30 times 200,000, that's a $6 million business.
Yeah.
$16 million sounds like you'll be doing okay.
Yeah, we're doing okay.
You're doing okay.
Now it's funny how, like, you still wake up at 3 a.m. though and go, "Oh
Yes,
my
yeah, right.
gosh,
Heart's still
profit
racing.
is down by 1%.
Oh my God.
We're
I
gonna
know.
die." You
I
know?
know. I know. Tell me how the pandemic affected because you do those conferences. I've been to 3 of your events. They are absolutely fabulous. How the pandemic affect you?
Well, like most of us, we went to a live stream model.
Yeah.
We did it really early. I mean, we did it, we pandemic shut us down in mid-March. May, we were on a live stream, so we were one of the first people. I know, like, Tony Robbins took a lot of time to get there. Of course, he did it. I mean, you go to his set, and it's like a Coldplay concert or something. It's incredible. But, it took him a while, but we threw everything in really early and achieved some success, and then we invented because we thought, "We don't know where we're gonna get cash tomorrow," because 80% of our revenue is dependent on people getting on airplanes and coming to Nashville.
Yeah.
So I thought, "This how am I gonna keep everybody?" I'm gonna have to let people go, and I that's the last thing I wanted to do. And, so we did a live stream called Donald Miller Teaches Writing, and I think we charged like $149 for it or something like that. Maybe it was 99, I can't remember. But we had 5,700 people sign up for that. And then we did, we did Donald Miller Teaches Productivity, which had thousands of people, and so we actually had our best year ever and our highest profit margin ever. In fact, this year, because we strategically decided not to do those things again. That we really only sell a few we only sell 3 products, and we're gonna double down on those products and not do extra products.
Right.
This year, it's actually gonna be a challenge to beat last year. Now, I've never not beaten my previous year, so I'm very, very serious about making it happen, but it's gonna be a challenge to do it.
And are you going back to the live conference model?
We are thinking about doing that in the fall, and we will certainly do both live and we will certainly do live stream, there's no question about that, and we're thinking about doing a live one in the fall, but n aren't quite sure yet.
Did you see something different for the consumer, the way they engage virtually versus live?
Well, we had small groups in our live streams, we had small group leaders, literally, like, 200 of them.
That's smart.
And so they were able to interact with coaches. I actually think we had, it was one third the cost to attend our live stream, plus you didn't have to fly. I think you got more coaching on the live stream than you did live and in person. Now, you can't beat a live interaction, but because it's you're limited by time and because you can mute yourself, the whole s everything just got much more streamlined.
Yeah.
And, I was actually shocked that as we certify business coaches and as we certify marketing guides, I think they got more out of it, and we were able to get through the same content much quicker because we weren't in a room live. It was just much more efficient. So, there's always trade-offs,
Yeah.
and a lot of people learn in person really, really well, and of course, they miss that. But in terms of the value that we gave, we will always have live conferences and live certifications because the value we just discovered is extremely high.
Yeah, I can see that. I dare say I was emailing with Lindsay, your assistant,
Yeah,
or not,
well, she's on my team, yeah.
not Lindsay, Mel.
Yep, Mel,
Mel,
mhm.
Mel, with Mel. And she's like, "Oh, Don's over at Tony Robbins." It was, I can't remember what it was about, but you spoke at Tony Robbins conference relatively recently, I believe, right?
Yeah, I've done it 5 or 6 times, and,
Oh wow, what's
I
that
was
experience like?
just well, I mean, his live audience is like driving a Ferrari. He attracts such wonderful human beings, Mike.
Yes.
They really are just wonderful human being and he's a wonderful human being. So that's no surprise. Uh, so I did a bunch of live stuff, and he has me speak at Business Mastery, so I'm not speaking at, you know, Unleash the Power Within or any of that
Right, right,
stuff.
right, right.
But, he has me speak at Business Mastery, and I cover messaging and marketing, and, but then I did it recently. I think, like, 2 weeks ago, and he bought a whole warehouse in Florida right near his home, and he's got a stage inside there that it really does feel like you're on stage at a Coldplay concert. And he's got massive, I don't know, 50 feet by 100 feet screens up on in in front of you and behind you the whole time you're teaching.
Yeah.
And and you literally see hundreds of people. And I mean, I
Unbelievable.
literally I was like, "Hey, so and so, it's good to see you guys, over there in Israel," because he had an Israeli flag behind him. And the guy just looked shocked, I'm like, "No, we're really interacting.
Yeah,
We're
yeah,
talking
yeah.
to each other." And, we do that here, but we just do it with, like, big screen televisions, not with, like, 100 foot by 50-foot screens. And then his team is just, they're just top notch, and I can't say enough about the organization. They do a great job.
Yeah, it was great to see some organizations. He's one of them that I observed that just elevated their game during the COVID pandemic.
Totally, totally, and that's hard to do
Yeah,
when you're doing things at the level he's doing. He spends money on adding value. He does.
yeah.
He's
Because the cheap or the poor man's lobster was just do videos, pump them out there, sell them for 99 bucks or whatever, and it's a download when you need it,
right,
from the
yeah.
comfort of your couch. And then some people, yourself, Tony, I saw some others, Robin Robbins, who's in Nashville, elevate and actually pursue deeper engagement, which was almost counterintuitive.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and actually, Robin Robbins, do you know her in
I don't
Nashville?
know. I've not even heard
Oh
the
my,
name.
yeah, I got to introduce you at some point. She has a similar size business, but they exclusive as yours. They exclusively serve IT companies. They do 4 live events a year for
Oh,
their,
yes. No, I did meet her. She's wonderful. I spoke
yeah,
at one of her
Relentless Red, they call her.
Yeah, I spoke at one of her events.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
So, she she and I we talk maybe once a quarter or something, just just touch base and stuff.
Yeah.
She started this company called Big Red Media. It's how to do these virtual events. She started it the beginning of 2020, or right after the COVID pandemic, say 2 months after March, and 5 million in 2020. And this year, they're like, we think we can double that.
Wow.
And that's just a little kind of
Yeah.
you know outcrop. So
She ha she
so
she has a great team too.
she's a great team, a
Yeah.
great team. Actually, talk about teams. Where do you find your people? If you have 30 people that can run a 16 million plus dollar company, they have to be extraordinary. How do you find great people?
We hire slow. Now we
Yeah.
now I also will fully admit, my first 3 or 4 hires, I cannot believe how lucky I got.
Was
You know,
JJ one of the first?
JJ was up there, Kula was there, Tim Schurer was there, Kyle
Yep.
Reed was there. Those were all in the first 5 or 10 hires. And, just talk about people who were good at execution, people who would give a massive return on their paycheck. I got really lucky out of the chute. Not only that, but as a writer, I can go into right now I'm in a bunker in the back of the garage, like a cinder block bunker.
Oh, I remember you showed
Yeah,
me that. I didn't realize that's the finished bunker now.
it is. Yeah,
Can you spin around? Is there anything else to show there?
yeah, yeah. I mean, that's well, what it is. It's just a 10 by 12 room, let's
This is
see,
cool.
but there's whiteboards on both sides.
Super cool.
And that's actually that's that map of America back there,
Yeah.
is a gun safe. So you
No
can
way.
yeah, you pull the map of America off the wall and there's a gun safe. I don't own any guns, so it's literally water pistols for kids.
Is
Um,
it really?
yeah, totally. Hold on, you want me to let's see if
Yeah,
we
sure.
can
I gotta see this.
hold on,
This
I gotta
is
take my
what are the pins in there? I gotta.
it's gonna be fuzzy, but yeah.
Oh my god. That is the coolest thing ever. So for our listeners, he just opened it up and pulled a water pistol out and started shooting it at me. I got squirted in the eye.
That's right. If you try to rob me, you're gonna
You'll
get
s
wet. I
you'll
will get
squirt
you
the
wet.
shit out of someone.
I will get you wet.
That is awesome. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
so and I'm so happy down in this room that I can come out once a week and meet with the team and what I just said is a recipe for disaster. And yet the people that I hired were able to run a company and manage themselves and manage, customer expectations and all that kind of stuff without needing constant micromanagement from me. And so that was really lucky. And then we started getting wise and we just we have a rule, rock stars only, and we take a long time to hire somebody. We do let people go relatively quickly, and it's
Mm,
almost never because they're not competent or they're not really good at what they do. It's more because we miscalculated the person that we actually needed, and they don't have that skill
mm.
set. So, but we do let people know. We give a great severance when it doesn't work out. That's happened, just 3 or 4 times. But, it's just hire slow, fire quick. I mean,
Culture, I'm sure, is massively important for you.
culture is really important, and
Yeah.
we just had a conversation this morning because, and we said this, the most important element in creating a great culture is winning.
Yeah.
I mean, if you don't set people up to win and the organization is not winning, you are gonna have a fight on your hands to create a positive culture.
Yeah.
So, culture is not a ping pong table and a breakfast bar. Culture is winning. And, you can have a ping pong table, I have nothing against that, but you wanna mess with people's morale, you just chalk up a few losses in a row. And at
Yeah.
that point, you're hurting your people. So everything for us emphasizes what our 3 strategic objectives are, what those goals are, when we're going to accomplish them, and how you participate in that accomplishment. And that all that stuff, we try to make as much of it measurable as possible.
Hey man, you dropped a hammer when you came out with Business Made Simple. I mean, it's clearly, at least it's clear to me where the vision is now, is that you're going to be the definitive source for business resources. So
Mhm.
so tell me what's the master plan that you have going on?
Well, I mean, Business Made Simple is, a book that I wish somebody would have handed me in my early 20s because it would
Yeah.
have it would
Yeah.
it would
It's
have
good. It's good.
yeah, it would have stimulated my entrepreneurial imagination. And, the book really came about because I had hired a few people who were very, very intelligent. They had a lot of experience in large organizations, Harvard degrees, um, and came to realize pretty quickly they weren't actually great at growing a small business. They were actually great if they had $500 million. They were great, and I mean that. They would have been really, really great. But when it comes time to bootstrapping a business, um, I don't think they were able to do it. And you start realizing that at business school they teach you, you read a white paper on trade with China, and you study a 1973 Volkswagen ad, and you don't need any of that to grow a business.
Yeah, yeah.
You don't need to even understand mergers and acquisitions. You don't need to understand private equity. You don't need to understand venture capital. You don't need to understand you don't understand any of that unless you wanna be chairman of the Fed or something, but, that's only one person, so the rest of us have to actually figure out how to grow a business. So, I the way I grew a business was I treated it like an airplane, and, I've talked about this before.
I love this analogy.
There's the cockpit, which is your leadership, and there's about 5 or 6 things the leadership needs to be working on. Then there's the right engine, which is your messaging and marketing, the left engine is your sales, the wings are your products, the body is your overhead, and the fuel tank is your cash flow. And so if you can manage those 6 parts of a business and keep them in proportion to each other, the airplane will fly. But mess up one of them, and you're in a lot of trouble. Mess up 2 of them, and you're gonna crash.
Yeah.
And the only thing you can't mess up cash flow, and that's why I tell everybody about your books is because that's the one thing you can
When
have
you're
a
out of
you can have a
fuel.
perfectly engineered airplane, and you run out of fuel, and it's going to crash. And so you've gotta manage cash flow really well. But if you can understand those 6 components of a business and how to run them, everything else is just business speak and stuff you don't need to know. Yeah, unless you're in mergers and acquisitions, if that's what you do. If you're in
Right.
high finance, then you do need to understand stuff. But if you're selling plungers or you're a locksmith or you're a real estate agent or a financial advisor, these are the 6 things you gotta get right.
I think it's an excellent illustration. What about the business behind the book? You have Business Made Simple University. Um, is that's continuing to expand? It looks like.
Yeah, totally. We have now about 17,000 people who subscribe. It's $275 for a full year. We've never raised our prices, and we don't see a price raise in coming. And now we're excited because we have about 10 or 11 online courses that teach all aspects of business. And then we're adding a monthly coaching call from me where uh, I will be on a live stream once a month. The one coming up in May, I'm teaching sales. So right now, I'm guiding Berkshire Hathaway Home Services through an effort to double their home sales within 3 years, and I'm gonna teach the method that I'm using with Berkshire Hathaway. And, that's
Oh,
275 bucks, but you get 11 more live streams and you get 10 courses. And then in January of next year, we're actually launching an online day planner that takes your tasks and move them over to the next day, and you can create your life plan and have a day planner inside the platform, and it's still gonna be 275 bucks. So our whole thing is just more and more and more value,
I,
and, we hope to have, 250,000 people in our online platform by 2025, and, we've got 18,000 now, so we've got a long way to go, but we're hoping that that works.
yeah, this is the masterclass that's actively advertised, but specifically for business. I mean, you do not miss this opportunity. Everyone listening to the show, every subscriber of mine, go to Business Made Simple. Don, before I let you go, we're confirmed for October 18th.
We are, you're coming to Goose Hill, and that's the deadline to get the barn done.
Yeah, you
Right
got to
here.
hurry up. So Jeff Walker is excited to join us. He's
Yeah, I've
once
spent a little
for me.
time with Jeff. I went out to Durango and met with him and spoke at his thing, and then we were at Blackberry Farm with Michael Hyatt, and, he's a wonderful guy, just smart
He's
as all
such
get
an
out.
affable guy. I love
He's
him. There's
also
this common
just
theme.
brilliant. He's just brilliant.
But James Clear is coming back. Everyone's coming back. I haven't heard from Ryan Holiday yet, but everyone else is coming back. So thank you for hosting us,
I
and
can't
thank
wait.
yeah, I can't wait to either. And yeah, the baby will be there. I can't wait to meet the baby.
The baby will be here, you'll meet her. Oh, also, the only thing that we ask, we'll pay for food and everything, bring your favorite children's book.
Oh,
'Cause we're
that's a
gonna
deal.
build we're gonna build a massive children's book library here at Goose Hill,
I
uh,
like that.
for kids.
I'm gonna, you know what? I'm gonna put some thought into it. I have a a favorite from the 70s. I don't even know if it's still around. The one that I was raised to. My father read it to me every night. So
I think there's a kid's book in you about finance and or a kid's book about being an
I may have
entrepreneur
written it. Yeah.
and
So the
building
Money Bunnies
yeah,
may be coming out
I
this
would
October.
we would
Yeah, I'm
absolutely love that.
I'm working with my illustrator now. So thanks, Don. Just thanks for your time and thanks for joining me today.
I'm so glad, Mike. Thanks for having me on. As an honor.